to The Mom's View. This week, I mean, we're all here. This is exciting.
I love it. It's like a party.
It's a party. How you guys doing?
Good. Really good.
Cool. Well, should we start with a question from the fans?
Yes.
All right. Our first question comes from MikoBerry07. And she asks, can you ladies talk about some of the red flags in a relationship and if red flags can be fixed with a compromise? Example, if he's being disrespectful, if he's not wanting to know your friend's family, if he's always putting something before you. Red flags.
I think
Those are red flags.
Like, whoa. I think it's important to pay attention to the red flags when you're dating, because if you don't pay attention to those while you're dating, then they're only going to get worse and progress and get worse, I guess, when you're married. Like,
they become larger than a flag. It's more of a building size flag.
Yeah, right.
Small.
You need to address those early on.
Yeah. I've said this before, and I was quoting Oprah, who I think is quoting Madeline Shalhoub, but she was saying, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. You know, so that if someone's going to be disrespectful, it's probably who they are. There's something they're going through, and it's probably not going to get better.
Especially if it happens multiple times.
Yeah.
And if it happens early on when you start dating someone and there's a lot of red flags, right when they should be trying to impress you and be in their best behavior, red flags.
And the compromise part
That's
is,
a red flag.
yeah, the compromise part, what she said is like, should you compromise? I don't think you should ever have to compromise anything. If you ever feel like intuitively that something is not okay, then it's not okay.
Right.
And passing it by, sometimes women, I think girls think, oh, it will get better, it will change as a relationship goes on, but you can't change somebody.
Right.
And it's really hard to think that way.
Yeah,
So.
I heard, I don't know where I got this from, but I heard that it takes 3 months to really know somebody, like truly know somebody. So I think at least if you do find these red flags, at least give it 3 months to see if it hashes out, and if it doesn't, then I would just say go, you know.
Hit the road, Jack.
It's hard, though. I mean, what would you tell someone if they were in this relationship and they loved this person and there were a few red flags? Can you live with a few red flags?
It depends what kind of red flags.
Yeah. And I think definitely if it, like in those, the red flags that she was saying, like disrespect and things like that, you just need to like address it immediately. Oh, yeah. Like don't let it be, oh, he didn't really mean that, it's okay, you know. Like if something bothers you, you address it immediately, especially when you're dating, because that's just gonna, I mean, get way worse.
And inherently, too, women are always trying to fix and nurture, and that it'll get better.
We want to look for the good in everybody.
Benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. And compromise is important. I just think you have to know your boundary. You know, what are you compromising with? If it's disrespectful or there's something that's hurtful and it's causing you pain, that's you don't want to compromise. But other things, you know, you compromise in a relationship. So it's that.
I think you don't compromise your integrity. If you feel that something's right or wrong, I think you just go with your gut instinct. Right. You can compromise and like, let's meet in the middle.
But I mean, I imagine how many of you guys have ignored red flags, you know, like.
Oh, yeah.
It's very common, you know, and I think it's a very hard thing to act on, being like, okay, this is a red flag, I'm going to act on it. Because I know I've.
That's how girls are, yeah. It's so hard for me to hear my single friends be like, he's so cute, I just really like him, but it's okay that he was flirting with that girl because I'm like, hello, there's a red flag flying. It's flying for a reason. Like, you need to pay attention to that. So I like that you said that. Don't ignore it.
So we have another one from Jess Anaro. No, I didn't try that again. I don't know what she's saying. I think that meant to be honorable. Jess, honorable with an N. Okay. Yeah. Hello, could you talk more about forgive and forget and how you feel about cheating in relationships? It's okay. Forget it. All right, I'm just going to take this one from the top. This one comes from Jess Anarup. Okay, you read it. It's like you read it.
Jess adorable, like adorable sort of.
Oh, there we go. We figured it out. Jess. Love it. Okay. Hello, could you talk more about forgive and forget and how you feel about cheating in relationships? Do you really think people can change, and do you think people can totally rebuild trust?
Yes. It's a hard one.
Wow, that is a hard one.
Yeah.
I think people can totally rebuild trust. You know, we're all humans, we make mistakes, and if you forgive somebody, you decide to make that decision to forgive somebody, then, you know, that's you're choosing to give up the right to bring it up ever again. So you can totally rebuild, I think.
Have any of you guys been cheated on?
Not that I know of.
Not that I know of, yeah. I know, right? Speculation.
That's a hard one. I mean, I was in a relationship once where, like, I remember feeling like something's not right here. You know, like I never could really fully trust him. And then it wasn't until after we had broken up, like he came over and he just, for some reason, felt like he had to express all of this, you know, that he had cheated on me and all this stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, I knew it, but I didn't act on it, you know, but
Better not have been my brother.
At that point, no, it was not. It wasn't Shay, I promise. At that point, I was actually already dating. I was dating Shay, and so it didn't really matter to me at the time. But I remember feeling like, man, if I would have listened to those red flags that were going up in my mind, I could have saved a lot of heartache and grief in this relationship. But that's a hard one.
I feel like the whole forgive and forget, if somebody was to cheat on you and you take them back, if they were to never cheat on you ever again, I think you would always question it. Yeah. Right. And it's almost unfair for that person. Yeah. Like if they were to really be good and never cheat on you ever again, and to always sometimes being accused or questioned, I think that...
I just hate categorizing situations like this because all humans are different. Everybody loves and feels and expresses things differently. And I have heard of men or women cheating on their relationship, but then, you know, they've decided to come back together and make amends, and they both really worked on it. Not that it was easy, and things were better than they had ever been, and they were able to forgive that. But then there's other people who that happens to, and it just, okay, well, let's try to make this work, and they become miserable and unhappy. And so I really feel like it depends on how you really know that person, and you know, like I'm one of those people that's like, I'm not willing to, because I would never cheat. Like I'm not a cheater. I would never cheat. I would never like betray someone's trust in that like physical aspect or whatever. And so I expect that in return, and I don't think that that's too much to ask.
No, it's not. And it's the I think it's the betrayal of being lied to. You know, there's something else happening. It's more than even the act. It's the fact that something's happening and that you don't know, you're left out of it, and you're like the fool. There's something about that that it'd be much better if somebody cheated, just told you. That would be much more forgivable. Not that I'm saying that's forgivable. It's not. I mean, I wouldn't want to be in a relationship where I felt I'd been cheated on. But I think it's that bit about being betrayed and lied to.
It is the biggest part.
A friend of mine just spoke with her last night, and she just found out that her husband of 15 years had a 6-year affair with 2 different women, like 2 years and 4 years. And it's like, how do you, she's got 2 kids with him, and she says, I feel like I've been, like the whole relationship was a lie. Like she, looking back, like,
well, and everything else that's been the truth now becomes a lie. Everything that maybe he wasn't like maybe when he did love her, but that is a lie, because that's not love when you're, you know, so.
We kind of touched on this, and you said if that ever happened between you and Shay, and I feel the same way with Casey and I, you'd be like, who is this person that I've been married to and shared my life with? Like, I can't imagine. Where you would go.
There's sort of mental cheating, too, that's not even physical. You know, a lot of people can be in love with somebody else and be in a relationship, or things can happen, you know, which feels...
I always said,
just as bad, or if not worse, actually.
My ex and I had that agreement, and I came up with it. If I'm sitting next to you, no, how did that go? Don't do something. If I was sitting next to you, would you do it? If you feel like you wouldn't do it, that means it's not right.
Right.
If you're chatting with somebody and you're writing if you're flirting online, whatever it is, if you're talking on the phone, if you're texting, if I'm right here and I can see everything, you're cool with it, that means you're doing something okay. And if you don't feel it's right, like you said, it's kind of like, it's wrong.
What's that quote? I think it's in a book, like the Bible, I think is what it's called. But like if you look at a woman with the eyes of lust, like you're already committed that first step. Remember how we talked about cheating doesn't just happen? I don't believe it just happens like overnight. I woke up and I cheated on my wife. Like no, that doesn't happen. You know, like, or vice versa. I think there's steps, and mentally, or like you said, like that's huge now. Online, like Facebook. Private messaging. It's dangerous.
But then, like, when do you know somebody's, like, if somebody was to cheat on you, a lot of people are like, there's the red flags, you saw it coming. My friend
didn't see it coming. But potentially there were red flags that she was ignoring.
Maybe. But she was telling me, she's like, we were traveling, he was telling me he loved me, we were like working on like future goals together.
Liar.
But that's the thing. It's like a whole other person. Like,
it's so
literally.
sad.
And how do you trust someone when they've done it 2 different times? And
she's done with it.
Oh yeah.
She's definitely done. She would have been done with just one time.
So, have any of you guys ever thought of cheating or cheating on a boyfriend?
Yes, I cheat on my diet every day.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I mean, we cheat. Everybody cheats on things all day long. But in an actual relationship, have you cheated? Have you ever thought about cheating?
That's a pretty deep question.
Yeah, it is.
Y'all want to answer?
I know. We're like, I'm not talking about that.
Yes, I cheat all the time.
And I'm like, yeah, let's hear it, girls.
That's it, right?
Say, Casey, I got this.
I got it.
I mean, I think it's something too where these things can come into your head, but it's like what you said. It's taking steps to do something's different. It's, I mean, you see things all the time. You're like, ooh, wow, but it doesn't mean you're going to act on it.
Yeah.
And that's something different. I mean,
I think, well, I know I'm plugging that I've just been reading this book or whatever, but it starts in your head. It always does. Like, you're never just going to cheat on somebody, like Carly was saying. And that's like where you need to take action for yourself, is like really decide what you want. If you're in a relationship and you start having those thoughts like, oh, maybe I want to be with that person, or maybe I want to try this, like, you need to figure out where you stand before you do that. You need to think, okay, I do not want to do that. I need to think again. Or, you know, if you do, then maybe you should go back to your relationship and say, there's a problem here, and fix it there, or break up or whatever before you end up cheating. Because that just takes away all your integrity.
Because why wouldn't you just break up with somebody and not be with them? Why does it have to be? Because to me, that's the painful part. Is that you're hurting and lying.
I think some people are addicted to that, like, adrenaline and that chance and that sneakiness and, like, you know, when you have been dieting really good and you're being clean and you have that piece of chocolate, it's kind of like, oh yeah, you know, like, I'm having this right now. Or like when you're speeding and you like get somewhere really fast, you don't get caught. It's kind of like that, like, you know what I'm saying? I think people, maybe chocolate and speeding, it's a little bit dramatized, but like people, there's men and women out there who it's kind of, I think they become more addicted to the game, because I've heard of people who's like, they're married and they're happy, but then one strays and starts cheating, so then the married couple gets divorced, and then this couple doesn't even last anymore. But yet they were willing to compromise their marriage and their family, and they were so in love with that person, but once that, like, feeling of the sneaky and all that, you know, was, okay, it's open, do what you want now, you have the freedom to do it, they, like, end up breaking up.
Or they've cheated once and they feel like, well, I've already cheated. I think that you can't be really happy in a relationship. If you're cheating or have these thoughts, there's no way you're fully happy
With yourself as a person.
And in like your partner. You can't be.
You're looking for a way out. A lot of times that's a way.
Or how can you as a woman feel good about being with a man who cheated on his wife? It's like, hello, he did it to his wife, why isn't it going to do it to you?
I think when you've been married and you've been in a relationship for a while, you start missing how you used to feel, how you used to get butterflies and how things used to be exciting, and you miss that, and you think maybe if you were seeing someone else or something that you would feel that way again. But what you really need to do is look at your relationship, like you were saying, start dating each other again. Like, you know, you're with that person for a reason. Find out what that reason was.
Or like it starts in the work area, like maybe you get dressed in front of your husband every day, but he never says anything, and then you go to work and there's that one guy at work that notices, oh, you look really pretty today, and then that person, like you said, you miss that, like, first
that
initial
attention and that butterflies.
I think women like to hear that, oh, you look beautiful, honey, today, or oh, your hair looks nice. But guys like to hear it too. Guys love to hear that they look good. They feel like. I think it's important to.
But what if you miss that opportunity? Like, you know, say you're talking to somebody and they ask for your number, but you are with somebody or you're married. Like, what if you like give them your number and you just kind of disregard, like, being like, oh, I need to back up and reevaluate my relationship. Like, what if, like, how do you know when it just goes too far?
I think you put yourself, I think you just shouldn't put yourself in that position where that, if the guy's asking you for your number, you've already gone too far.
Right.
Like, you're letting him know that somehow there's something there. You know? Like, I feel like you shouldn't put yourself in that position. Don't hang out with a guy that likes you. Like, don't put yourself in that position.
And I think if you're wondering, put yourself in your husband's shoes, your boyfriend's shoes. Would you be okay with that if the roles were reversed?
Treat others the way you'd like to be treated.
And if you're if like that's exciting to you, like somebody's asking for your number and you're excited about it, then maybe you're not really happy with where you're at with this other person, and that's when you need to look back and go, okay, something's wrong here.
Yeah, because it for me it always goes back to that. The honesty of being able to say, okay, instead of me cheating, I'm just going to end this relationship with you, because it's not fair, and that's the part that I think is just unfair. And if you can have the integrity to be like, I don't want to do this anymore, even if it's painful.
I like what you said, how you like, I mean, relationships aren't always about that butterfly love, and they're always like in stages and process. I read this thing on Facebook that this man and woman had been married for like 25 years, and he was a working dad and she was a working mom. They had 2 kids together, and you know, you get into that groove and into that rhythm, and all of a sudden she realized, she's like, he doesn't love me anymore, he doesn't look at me. And he came home like that same night she had, you know, kind of come to this realization. He was like, I want a divorce, there's somebody else I've been seeing, I want to do this. And she was like, you know, our 2 kids, they were twins, they were seniors in high school. She's like, can we please just wait to get this divorce until they graduate and they get out of the house so that it's not on them in their senior year. And the guy was like, okay. And so he went to bed that night being like, oh, I get to get out, I can be with this girl I've been with. And he woke up the next morning and his wife was down at their kitchen table and she was writing something down. And he was like, you know, what are you doing? You've been up all night. And anyways, long story short, she said, okay, you can get this divorce, but for 1 month, I want you to carry me from our bedroom to the front door every day. What? And he looked at her and he said, like, physically carry you? And she said, yeah, I want you to scoop me up how you, when we got married that night, you brought us home to this house. I want you to carry me like that to the front door every day. Just for a month, and at the end of the month, if you still feel like you want to get a divorce, then we can get this divorce. So he was like, that's a weird request, but you know, I've given this woman's given me her life, she's given me 2 kids, okay, I'll respect it. So the first morning, it was like really awkward. They like were fumbling down the stairs and their son comes out and was like, oh, that's cute, Dad, way to get Mom, you know? And so then it continues on, and she talks about how their intimacy level grew, and when he would just touch her side, she felt something that she had felt for the first time when they were married, and he noticed that she was getting lighter and skinnier, and she's like, oh, she's so stressed out about this, you know, and then he started thinking about her, like, has she been working out? I haven't been paying attention. Is she so stressed out? She's losing weight, like, why is she getting so light? At the end of the story, it's like the last day, he's carrying her to the door, and they look at each other and kiss for the first time that they've kissed in like 4 or 5 months. And he said, driving to work, I felt that connection again, just that physical touch and like that thing that we used to do. And anyways, at the end of the story, he goes and tells his mistress, you know, I don't want to get a divorce. I love my wife. I found that love again, and I want to serve that or give that back to her. And he goes home, and his wife's laying in bed, and she's unconscious. And long story short, she had cancer. But because their marriage had grown so like distant, they like she couldn't share that with him, and that's why she had lost the weight. And I mean, it's one of those Facebook posts, but it brought attention to the fact of that like they really worked on something so little, and they you know just gave each other 5 minutes of that one-on-one attention every day, and it helped him realize that I love this woman. And yeah.
And I think you need to be thinking about the other person. That can happen in your marriage. You start thinking, what about me? He's not doing this for me. He's not doing that for me. But think about what you're doing for your husband or your wife.
And it is, and we've had this talk and debate, but it is work. It is every single day nurturing something. It's like anything, you know. If you want it, it's a plant. You want it to grow. You gotta do something. So, you know, and that when you do, you tend to notice that you stay connected. But it's work.
I always said a relationship is based off of 3 things, which is trust, communication, and compromise. And it's really true. Like if you can trust someone, if you communicate how you feel, if you can meet in the middle, like you know, you're probably gonna work out. It's hard. I mean, it's hard when you're in a relationship. As long as some of us were in a relationship. No, but it's true. Like you have your ups and downs, and you know you've been with Casey since you were 15. You know, there's people out there telling you look pretty. You just have to know what you have to be really sure with, like you said, what do you want? Right. Some people are not meant to be married forever. Some people are meant to just be dating, you know, George Clooney, The Bachelor, all the time, and it's okay.
All
it
day
works for
George
him.
Clooney.
Some people have open relationships.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Especially in Hollywood. Would you ever be able to?
No way.
That's so weird.
No.
But it's for some people. It's
Things are like, fine, you guys. I'm not okay with that either.
No. I'd be like,
I like what you said. At the end of the day, it comes down to like, what do you want? Do you want to be happily in a relationship, or do you want to be single and
you have to be aware.
You want?
It's not always easy.
Yeah.
No.
And if you know, remember we said like you said that quote, and I like that quote too. A couple that's been together for a long time. What was the success was to never fall out of love at the same time.
Right.
One will fall out of love. The other one's there to say, no, we could do it. We could work on it. And then the other one, it happens, and it's okay.
well, thanks, ladies. That's a wrap.
Got a little deep there.
We got a little deep. Cool. All right, guys. Don't forget to go to our Facebook. We have a giveaway, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter and subscribe and leave us your comments. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.